Could the IMF be replaced by Ripple? Will XRP emerge as the next big thing? New information appears to be emerging. New discussions and information are emerging online that point us in the direction of potential outcomes. This is what we will examine today. We'll also discuss other background information to help us determine whether this is even feasible and what must occur for it to occur. Let's get this video started. When I woke up, this clip was there. I had to go. Together, let's create a video. This individual purchases digital products. His name is Brad Kimes, and he is employed at Digital Perspectives. Now let's play this. Step back. Paul, you are correct when you say that stablecoin wars are a reality. Let's back off a bit. Since the Anti-CBDC Anti-Surveillance Act has not been signed into law, it remains unenacted. This is significant because it will prevent the Fed from issuing a digital. I truly enjoy dollar like steady coins or CBDC. We don't want that. That is not what we desire. That is clearly not what we desire. We are aware that's a bad concept, but there's more to this than that. The Federal Reserve, in my opinion, is aware that they cannot participate in the emerging digital on-chain economy. You should think about who will be in charge of the future digital blockchain economy in light of this. I believe it to be a Ripple, and I believe it's Ripple because they are trusted, making them a lender of last resort, a bank-like institution for the emerging digital on-chain economy. That seems to be a component of a larger story. Perhaps Jerome Powell's resentment of the government stems from the fact that he is retaliating against the Fed without telling anyone. They are upset because they realize they will not be able to participate in the new digital world that we are entering. Paul, you're bringing up a really fascinating topic and question. That is the main point, isn't it? Indeed, everyone must be aware. Escrow, to start, is the practice of keeping money in reserve for another party. Since escrow implies that Ripple and another party are involved right away. That's awesome. Since the G7 and G20 are the biggest nations in the world, one has to wonder how much of the XRP and escrow may be put aside for them. Several of the stable coins that are now available on the XRP platform are from the G20, which is a consortium of about 20 of the biggest economies in the world. This is another intriguing aspect. That reminds me of, to consider the amount of trust they were willing to forfeit. We have prior knowledge of this. Greg Kidd already had an option agreement in place. It is well known that R3 has already reserved a $5 billion XRP deal. For a little while, are those two astute businesses the only ones who have reserved and obtained an XRP option contract that they can utilize in the emerging digital on-chain economy? Let's now assume that none of that is accurate. Let's assume for the moment that none of that is accurate. Nothing belongs to anyone and is being held in trust. All right, excellent. Paul, they will keep the money and claim they won't sell XRP until they receive their banking charter in the Federal Reserve Master Account, if what S. Gilbert stated on your broadcast is accurate. Additionally, XRP can only be purchased during periods of loose liquidity in the markets. I appreciate you coming. All right. We don't know which way it will go, but it's extremely thrilling to know that these are the two main questions that need to be answered. That's intriguing. That movie clip was fantastic, in my opinion. This clip was owned by another Black Swan capitalist early this year. I'll play this now. It hasn't been fixed yet. What are they doing? They're figuring out how to make it work. To tie everything together, such actions are already being taken. These days, we witness this constantly. People lose faith in large institutions as a result of the increasing number of small banks failing or being acquired by larger banks. Purchased. What does this signify? There are already plans to create a new type of central bank. I chose this post's title for that reason. One that is unrestricted by nations or their monetary policies. Indeed, that is a method of cross-border payment that is founded on regulations rather than politics. Because of this, I believe that Ripple can assist by collaborating with banks, central banks, private marketplaces, and other organizations. One could say that Ripple is gradually becoming as the most effective method of sending money abroad. This is what's going to happen. XRP is unquestionably the backup payment layer and the connector. Additionally, not too long ago, this deal arose in the Gemini IPO. Getting credit was a bargain. Yesterday, we produced a film on this. That video, I think, was released yesterday as well. My team worked on it. According to the numerous pieces of evidence Mr. Mann assembled, Ripple is already the most significant participant in the US. Using RLU, SD, and XRP, the fun is only getting started. This was all documented. It should be challenging to comprehend, but I also want to get right to the point. Has anyone mentioned that Ripple might combine the old and the new by becoming the IMF or the central bank for digital currencies? Because of this, Ripple has been discussed a lot as a means of connecting the old and new banking systems. This has been said in public and when they have contacted Tim Hortons schools. However, claims that Ripple aspires to replace the IMF or turn into a central bank are mostly merely conjecture. Recognize that. Alright, according to financial analysts, Ripple is attempting to bridge the gap between the old and new financial worlds by utilizing blockchain technology to link digital assets and traditional banks. Rather of altering the current system, Ripple is attempting to destruct and destroy it. Ripple's plan's primary objective is to improve and integrate the major financial channels so that existing institutions can receive digital currency from the central bank of the CBDC, make cross-border payments, and obtain loans. Take a look at what other companies are doing with CBDC. Some people find it objectionable. Either no one has considered it yet, or everyone is aware that it will occur. They're not bothered by it. Alright, the ECB is about to make a decision about digital euros as more individuals get them globally. In fact, I think that over the next 5 years, France and other countries should strive for 95% of them to explore CBDCs in some sort of test area. These will be carried out in a few of these nations. Keep in mind that the most crucial factor will always be size. That's how we communicate with banks. That's exactly what they require. As a result, your consumers and enterprises can conduct commerce using a digital dollar, digital pound, digital euro, or digital Australian dollar. And it's obvious that the G20 or G7 nations will be the first to sign on, aren't they? Starting with secure coins in the most widely used currency makes reasonable, doesn't it? It appears that everyone is using that. You would target the US dollar, the British pound, the euro, and the Indian rupee because those are the currencies that most people utilize, such as Swiss francs and the like. I think part of this should be obvious, and some of it makes sense. Everything is all right. Let's continue. An examination of Ripple and Swift. Because it is based on the XRP system, it is frequently referred to as the Swift of the blockchain world. It provides banks with the means to make cross-border payments quickly and affordably. In this capacity, Ripple's route to sustained success is readily viewed as a connection between various elements. Collaborate with banks, banking firms, and central banks rather than outright opposing them. Furthermore, I should also mention that other blockchains that are active with central bank issued digital currencies are R3, HBR, and Stellar. I believe they began by collaborating with Ukraine on a CBC. This is not a common practice among corporations. Yes, exactly. MasterCard investigated this and made it available for banks and other businesses to test. In other words, it is being worked on in the background. In the next 5 to 10 years, I believe it will evolve into more sites and see an increase in users. We have to discuss how to keep everyone safe. It's time, really, to discuss being safe. We might discuss the fact that not everyone had access to our information. However, that is simply the reality in this area. Alright, it claims that Ripple and digital currencies aspire to become the